Reddit is a gold mine for understanding what your clients actually want. But who has the time to scroll through hundreds of posts looking for patterns? So I built a workflow that does it for me. Using this workflow, I was able to scrape the R contractors subreddit, load hundreds of posts into Airtable, and then analyze all of that data using Claude to create three potential offers based on actual market research. These offers are backed by insights that Claude found from the actual Reddit posts. So this allows you to really hone in on what exactly it is that your target customer wants, and it helps you create that exact custom tailored solution for them. So let's dive in and see how you can build this for yourself. Here is the workflow in n8n. It's fairly simple. We start with the Reddit node. We pull all posts from Reddit. Now the limit is that this pulls just 997 posts, but still that's more than enough for basic research. Then we are going to create a record of all of those posts in our Airtable. And part two of the workflow is pulling each individual record, finding the comments on that post, because the real meat is usually in the comments, analyzing those comments, and loading the analysis of those comments into Airtable. Once we have all of this done, and this whole process takes about an hour or an hour and a half, depending on how much data that you're pulling and what AI model you're using. Next, we can grab all of this from Airtable, copy it, paste it all into Microsoft Excel, export it as a CSV, and then throw it into Claude with this prompt to help Claude glean specific insights from that subreddit and provide three potential offers that we can create. So part one of this automation starts with a manual trigger that goes into a Reddit node, which is built into n8n. Now to set up Reddit, you need to add your credentials into n8n, and to grab your credentials, you can go over to reddit.com and navigate to apps, and then click create another app. Add in your information here, and once you do that, you will be provided with a client ID and a client secret. For your for your redirect URL, get the OAuth callback URL, and the client ID displays underneath your app name, which you can find over here. And that is what you're going to throw into n8n. Once you have your credentials set up, the resources post, the operation is get many, and the subreddit is whatever subreddit that you're targeting. So for this example, I chose R contractor, but you could really look up any subreddit where your target audience hangs out. And that's what makes this automation that much more powerful. Next up, since this is going to pull 1,000 posts, and if you're using the free version of Airtable, 1,000 posts is going to eat up all of your limits. I'm going to add a limit node, which is again built into n8n, and the limit node keeps the maximum items at 750 and not more. And interestingly enough, using the limit node actually makes this much more validated, because even from a smaller sample size, if you can pull bigger trends, even from a smaller sample size, if you can pull out trends, it means that these questions are coming up very, very often. So with those 750 posts, we're going to go ahead and create a record in Airtable. You're going to set up your table by giving it a name. Column 1 is the title, which is the title of the post. We're also going to grab the number of upvotes, the number of comments, the URL of the post, categories if you want to categorize the exact pain point or topic of that post, but you'll need AI to do that for you. the content of the post, and comment analysis. So we have these columns over here. And if we go back into n8n, once you have Airtable hooked up, the resource is record, the operation is create, choose the correct post, choose the correct base from this list, choose the corresponding table, map each column manually, and then once you run this, you're just going to go ahead and drag all of these fields into these text boxes, So we have title, we have upvotes, comments, the URL, which is going to be reddit.com, and then the permalink. And we also have the content. And this is all we're pulling right now because the comment analysis is actually going to come in the next step. So here's what this looks like in an earlier execution. So we got 1,000 items from Reddit. We limited that to 750 items, and then we loaded those 750 items into Airtable. So we have all of that in here. Beautiful. And that brings us to the second part of the workflow. So where we're going to search records, search, and we're going to return all of the records that we searched. So if you loaded up 750, that's going to pull up 750. This was a second execution because my computer froze halfway. So this has 547 instead of 750. And we're going to loop over every single item that we searched, analyze it, and add it into Airtable. So we're going to throw in a loop node, loop over items. And down the loop track, we first need to attach a JavaScript code node. And we need to get the JavaScript code node to grab the URL and actually go ahead and extract the post ID, because this is the data that we're going to use to pull all of the comments. And if you look at the URL, you'll see that you have the post ID over here. So this is what we're pulling out using this little bit of JavaScript code. Once you have the post ID out, we're going to get another Reddit node, get many comments. Remember to enable return all, drop in the post ID that we got from the earlier code node. And in settings, make sure that you're always outputting data, because it's possible that you might have a post which does not have any comments. And if that's the case, your execution will stop instead of proceeding to the next record. Next up, we need to add an if node to test whether there were any comments or not. So we're going to drop in json.body, and we're going to see if that is empty, which means there's no comments. It's just going to go back into the loop and go over to the next item. However, if the body was not empty, if that's false, that's going to then go into an aggregate node, which is going to combine all of those comments into a single data field. And then we're going to go ahead and drop that information into an LLM chain where the prompt is json.data from the aggregate node, which is going to be a lot of information. And then we have this system prompt. You are a Reddit content summarizer. I have provided you the entire output of a Reddit thread. Reddit threads get comment API. Provide a summary of the entire discussion and note the users and upvotes if more than 3. Now, noting the users is actually optional, and feel free to modify the system prompt as and how you see fit. I've connected that to OpenRouter. I'm using Gemini 2.5 Flash, which I found has a decent enough context window. It's fairly cheap, and it's also really fast. So it's really the sweet spot for this kind of analysis. And then once that analysis is done, we're going to go back and update that corresponding record in Airtable. So we go back to create or update a record, map each column manually, and the ID that you're going to map on is by going back into the search records tab and grabbing this ID, dropping it in here. So it's going to find that exact row and update it accordingly. And we're also going to drop in the comment analysis, which is just the output of this LLM chain. So once that's done, it's just going to go back into the loop and continue working around and around until all of your records are complete. And once all of that's complete, we can just go ahead and copy everything. Open your favorite spreadsheet tool, whether that's Excel or Google Sheets or whatever, and output all of this as a CSV. Interestingly enough, I found that Claude works better when you provide it with a CSV file instead of an Excel file or anything else. So remember to output as a CSV, and and go ahead and give Claude this prompt. So if you're wondering why I'm using Claude, Claude has an incredibly large context window, which means you can provide it with really huge data sets and huge documents, and it will be able to, and it'll reasonably analyze everything, not miss out on anything, and give you a good output. I have not had a similar experience with ChatGPT or Gemini in this case. I've just found that Claude seems to work the best. And I'm not even using Claude Opus, which is the highest model. I'm just using Sonnet 4.5. I'm on the paid plan, but even if you're using the free version of Claude, you should still be able to do this without any issue. So go ahead and give it this prompt. I've scraped about 750 posts from Reddit with an overview of the comments. Go through the data and help me find the primary pain points that I can construct an offer around. And then output three separate pain points and offers that I can do independently or in combination. And that's really it. Just with with this simple prompt and the CSV file of the data, it's going to go ahead and do its analysis and come back to you with data backed results. 347 posts talking about payments and collections, 182 posts about pricing and bidding, and 400 plus posts about client management and boundaries. Now, interestingly enough, these numbers actually go to more than 750, which is the number of posts that we organized, that we, which is the number of posts that we pulled. But what's probably happening is that Claude is assigning multiple categories to a single post. So one post might end up having all three of these issues listed in. So not only do we have the issues, but we also have some sub issues as well. And based on those sub issues, it went ahead and created three powerful offers that we can provide to our clients. Now, the reason that this automation is so powerful is that it takes the guesswork out of your business and backs it up with real data from real user experiences. So, when you take this offer and these pain points to your potential clients, they really understand that you know what exactly it is that they're going through and that you are in that unique position to be able to help them out. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and you want to learn more about AI and automation using n8n and all the latest AI tools, do go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on the next video. And if you want help building systems like this for your agency or your consultancy, there's a link in the description where you can apply for an exclusive one-on-one coaching program that I have set up especially for agency owners who are looking to implement AI into their workflows.